Disclaimer: the video you are about to see has content that contains swearing, substance referencing, violence, and or partial on-screen nudity. If you are a person under 13 years of age, do not watch this video by order of COPPA. In general, if you are over 13 but are sensitive, you may exit this video and find a nice wholesome video to watch. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey there guys, Jordan here, back with another reaction video, and it's going to be another death battle, and this death battle is going to be Magneto versus Tetsuo, Marvel versus Akira. So, the battle between the two guys who can manipulate metal. I don't know much about the X-Men or Akira, so I'm going to go completely blind on this one. But whatever feats they explain, we'll see how each of them compares with the other. So yeah, alright, without further delay, let's get started.
Magneto, Marvel's mutant master of magnetism.
Tetsuo Shima, Akira's telekinetic terror of Neo-Tokyo.
These two maestros of kinesis have ignited revolution not just in their worlds, but also the very mediums they exist within.
He's
Wow.
boasting.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Let's get started. First up, Magneto.
In the short duration of modern civilization, likely no conflict tested humanity more than the Second World War. In
Whoa.
the primary Marvel 616 universe, this fact is no different, especially to the Eisenhart family and their only son.
You may know him as Magnus, Eric, or Max, but if you ask him, he'd say his true name is Magneto.
As a Jewish child in Nazi Germany,
Background. Names: Max Eisenhart, Eric Leschner, Magnus. Height: 6'2", 188 centimeters. Weight: 190 pounds, 86.2 kilograms. Omega level mutant. Groups: Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, X-Men, Hellfire Club. Dislikes discrimination, Nazis, and wooden guns. Okay, those are some very peculiar dislikes. But hey, I'm not judging who dislikes whatever.
Magneto's early life was, well, extremely traumatic.
Even after
I
eventually
see.
escaping certain death with his future wife, misfortune always followed wherever he went.
Thanks to his unexpected mutation called the X gene, the mark of a superhuman. After settling down in Russia with his new family, the KGB quickly found out about this quirk, so they burned his house down with his own daughter inside.
God
Naturally,
damn.
he snapped and killed them all. I don't blame him. I'd do that too. Too bad his wife didn't get it and ditched him though. But that's when Magneto made a choice. Since humans hurt him his entire life, he'd do the same to them in the name of mutants everywhere.
At first, Magneto turned to the telepathic powerhouse Charles Xavier and his fledgling team of heroes. But his new friend wasn't thrilled with the idea of, subjugating the human race. So, Magneto formed his own team of mutants, the Brotherhood.
Magneto can telekinetically move.
Powers and abilities: magnekinesis, flight, magnetic barriers, energy manipulation and absorption, biological manipulation, matter manipulation, extrasensory perception, gravity manipulation, telepathy and mind resistance, astral projection, wormhole creation. Wow. Those are some incredible powers, and it's amazing that all he has to do to use all those powers is to use his mind. Well, you know what they say, brains are better than brawn.
Move, bend, and reshape any metal he's aware of. Bullets, vehicles, buildings, you name it. Even himself when he manipulates his personal magnetic field for flight and energy barriers.
Magnetokinesis is far more versatile than it would appear at first glance. The blood in your body has iron.
Magneto typically keeps his barriers in place at all times during combat, even while using his powers for other things. So he can continue fighting while he has his barriers up. Well, it seems that he is an expert multitasker.
The air has traces of lead and mercury. Whole mountains are lined with metallic ore. The Earth itself is surrounded by a literal magnetic field.
That's
So
true.
many toys for Maggie to play with. He can detect magnetic fields at such a huge range. He can even pinpoint Earth's magnetic rays while stranded on a planet in another galaxy. And guess what? He was able to use those rays to pull himself back to Earth in a single day.
His range is even more remarkable than that. Did you know that in 1820, physicist Hans Christian Ørsted discovered that electric currents, like those of electrons and protons and atoms, produce their own magnetic fields? Magneto can fine-tune his control to affect these very subatomic particles. Dummy here will illustrate such a particle, with positively charged protons and negative electrons.
My life is as meaningless as an atom is small.
So what you're saying is Magneto could, like, yank one of those out.
Correct, potentially changing an atom's entire chemical makeup. However, neutrons do not have a charge, and without the ability to adjust those to accommodate the change in atomic mass, the atom would become unstable and...
Finally!
Uh-oh.
do that.
Okay.
Magneto's violent protest against humankind clashed with Xavier's peaceful reconciliation, not unlike the ideologies taught by Malcolm X and Dr. King, by whom Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were inspired. Magneto would spend most of his career pushing Xavier away to prove his philosophy superior, which meant doing battle with Xavier's school of thought, quite literally.
Aunt Baldy's mind powers are no joke, but thanks to Magneto's psionic repelling help.
Though his helmet is his most effective tool for shutting out psionic attacks, Xavier and other powerful telepaths have even struggled to affect his mind when he is not wearing it. I see. So Magneto's helmet keeps him from getting his mind controlled, but even without it, he can still keep himself from being mind controlled by other mutants. Wow. It just goes to show how amazing he can be able to use his own thoughts.
Helmet, Professor X couldn't touch him. Magneto survived sight.
Feats. Pulled the Breakworld bullet at near light speed, flew between galaxies in a short time frame, punched Iron Man with the force of a sun, overpowered Hercules and Thor's hammer, ripped apart Wolverine's adamantium skeleton, survived a miniaturized neutron star bullet, resisted mental attacks from Professor X and Emma Frost, defeated X-Men, the Avengers, Red Skull, and Apocalypse. Wow. It's amazing what kind of feats this guy was able to pull off without even lifting a finger. Well, maybe he does have to use his hands when he's using his mind powers. But it's all the same with him. So there's that.
Cyclops' earth-splitting lasers absorbed the power of the sun to battle Iron Man, ripped the adamantium skeleton out of Wolverine's body, and even taken on Hercules himself. You know, the Greek legend, Zero to Hero? The guy who held up the skies of Olympus for Atlas? That Hercules.
Seems sensible. Magneto once used the Earth's magnetic field to overwhelm the Phoenix Force, which can effortlessly destroy planets, let alone far more.
While the Phoenix's full power is far greater than just planet level, she has been weakened prior to Magneto defeating her and is beyond him at her full strength. I see. So Magneto has defeated Phoenix even when she was at full power. It seems that's going to be some tough competition. But we'll see how his opponent compares.
Hell, if he really wanted to, Magneto could totally just fling the Earth off its axis.
It's entirely possible he may have eventually resorted to just that. Over time, it became clear Magneto's war was doing far more harm than good for his fellow mutants, however well-intentioned he may have been at first.
Luckily, he later realized he was going a bit overboard and began reevaluating his perspective. Good for you, Mags. It's really tough to recognize when you're the baddie.
It took time and patience not just from Magneto, but also from his peers. Yet eventually, his path was completely changed. He even became a leader for Xavier's X-Men.
But don't let his new goody two-shoes ways fool you. Whenever there's a threat to mutants, you can bet Magneto will be there to annihilate it. Forever, by any means necessary.
Wow. Alright, now
Over
Tetsuo.
30 years ago, a new type of bomb was set off over Tokyo, and 9 hours later began the Third World War.
Welcome
Whoa.
to 2030, or 2019 if you're watching the anime. The buildings are taller, the motorcycles are cooler, and the future is brighter. Oh, wait, not really. If you find yourself in the Capsule Gang, you'll meet Shotaro Kaneda, who's like your textbook anime Chad. Gets the ladies, beats the baddies, and cops the sweetest rigs. Man, I need to get me one of those.
Whoa.
And then there's the little brother of the group, Kaneda's best friend, Tetsuo Shima. He's, well,
The exact opposite. A total
Oh.
wimp. As a kid, Tetsuo in his college...
Background. Name Tetsuo Shima. Age 19. Height 5'4", 162 centimeters. Weight 103 pounds, 47 kilograms. Esper number 41. Ex-Capsule Gang member, ex-Clown Gang leader, dictator of the illustrious Great Tokyo Empire. Wow. That is quite an impressive background considering he's only 19. But he could be fighting someone older than him who has more experience. But we'll soon see how that goes.
Thesis Forehead got bullied for being the new kid at the orphanage. That's until Big Bro Kaneda came to the rescue.
Eventually, the two went to vocational school together and formed the Capsules. But Tetsuo was never satisfied with Kaneda being the leader of the pack. Tetsuo desired more than anything to be top dog.
Oh, I can just see that monkey's paw curling in my mind. Or that kid walking down the street. Shit, Tetsuo, watch out, you're gonna...
Oh.
That definitely should have killed him. But since it didn't, Tetsuo earned himself a ticket to military confinement. Turns out they had an under-the-table program for developing child superweapons.
In the same program that backfired and jump-started the war, Tetsuo became Japan's Esper number 41.
He may not have been a natural with bikes, baddies, or babes, but this telekinesis stuff hit different. He walked out of that hospital ward effortlessly flying, reading minds, and blending people into strawberry jelly. Tetsuo got what he wanted. Power, along with the hunger for more of it.
My
Hunger
word.
can only be satiated with drugs. And not just any gateway drug. Pills so potent that a single gram of the stuff could kill you.
So...
God damn.
Kinda reminds me of college days, huh? Snow wizard.
Tetsuo's main ability is his constantly increasing psionic energy, growing more and more powerful over time. This is due to Tetsuo's link to, quote, the memories of the universe, end quote. It's weird.
Either way, Tetsuo leveled up from lame gang.
Espers take advantage of the flow of universal energy created by the Big Bang. Its destructive nature is in part due to promoting humanity's evolution. I see. So Espers are just as powerful as the Big Bang. And it seems that their destructive nature is actually supporting the evolution for humanity. That's interesting to know.
brainbuster to certified badass. This guy is a walking natural disaster. His telekinesis can shake the planet, easily cause earthquakes over a dozen miles below the surface. He can summon psychic barriers for defense and crush foes with friggin' gravity wells. He can dart around as a literal bolt of lightning, or even teleport in an instant.
Tetsuo's telekinesis can be so precise he can target and obliterate specific parts of the body. He can heal severe wounds quickly.
Powers and abilities: telekinesis, psychic barriers, regeneration, inorganic absorption, gravitational wells, flight and teleportation, lightning maneuverability, telepathy, continuous growth in power over time, ego collapse form. Wow. Those powers and abilities are just as impressive as his opponents. It really shows you, it really does make you think about who is superior to who.
But even after losing a whole limb, he can craft a new one using whatever nearby materials he wants.
With these
Wow.
powers, Top Dog Canada didn't matter anymore. Who needed his approval? Tetsuo tasted that good shit and he was hooked. And when he found out another expert named Akira could deal him even more power, he rampaged through Tokyo to find him.
And this is where versions of the story differ.
Spoilers ahoy!
You may be familiar with the 1988 animation, where Akira had been dissected for research. However, in the original manga, Akira is not only alive, but even more powerful.
Once that little runt nuked Tokyo, Tetsuo would erect the Great Tokyo Empire with Akira and himself as its leaders. But he ended up just abusing the position for endless sex and inflating his ego.
With Kanada's rebellion at his front door, Tetsuo took a turn for the worse. He had to fight.
Tetsuo's defeated other powerful
Feats: caused an 8.5 magnitude earthquake, obliterated an SOL satellite, cratered the moon, can destroy Earth 100 times over, dodged light-speed lasers, leaped to the moon faster than sight, survived multiple nuclear laser blasts, defeated K, Lady Miyako, and U.S. Navy fleet. Wow. Those are some incredible feats considering that he's still only 19. It just makes you wonder how Magneto can compare to him.
Espers, dodged light-speed lasers, and jumped to the moon faster than anyone could blink, and then punched a big old hole in it. And if you ask, Boomstick, wouldn't that mess up gravity on Earth? You would be right, because it totally did. Screwed the planet, I guess. Stupid moon.
Which brings us to Tetsuo.
Given the small crater Tetsuo left on the ground, he did not teleport to the moon. He must have traveled there in about 13 milliseconds, the average image processing speed for a human. I see. So he got to the moon even faster than any human could possibly process of it seeing it. So that would mean he's much faster than faster than the fastest reaction time a human can witness. That certainly is astonishing.
Was falling. His abuse of his powers spiraled until he lost control. Unfortunately for Kanada's rebellion, this did not make Tetsuo an easier enemy to confront. Exactly opposite, in fact, as Tetsuo painfully mutated into an unstoppable behemoth.
Yep.
My word.
I'm happy to say the manga's version is even more disturbing.
Oof. Nightmare fuel.
That's a whole nother level.
It is pain incarnate. I can relate. Another Esper described Tetsuo's struggle as ego death, which has multiple definitions, but in this case is likely symbolic of the version attributed to drug use.
Yeah, it's described as a shedding of one's own identity. Like how LSD can emulate a wild out-of-body experience, and you come back with a new perspective. Though this is maybe a little more extreme. In fact, you could say Tetsuo was shedding his human body to play with the powers of a god.
I wish I could
Wow.
shed my body, but in this Tetsuo going full out-of-body meant becoming a mound of raw, ever-expanding energy.
Which almost
Holy
all over
shit.
again. And those explosions are not normal. I would know.
Top scientists in both the manga and animated versions describe these explosions as births of a new universe.
Given its properties of nuclear fusion and proton collapse, Tetsuo's mutated form was likely creating a Big Bang.
You know, the thing
Wow.
universe?
Right, in the manga, it instead ended the Espers and their abilities once and for all. A testament that humankind is unsuited to wield the powers of the divine.
Though they
My
amazing
God.
torture be. Thanks to Akira and his buddies, Tetsuo got so high on ego death, he ascended time-space to become god of a new universe. Kinda worth it, right?
Tetsuo obtaining omniscience is not canon to the original manga and cannot be applied to an arbitrary level of power. I see. So his new power is not canon to the original source material, so therefore it cannot be determined on what the level of power is. Oh well, they just have to go with whatever's canon in anything.
Right?
And yet, Kaneda kept his empire up in his honor, now as the Great Akira Empire. Ironically, in death, Tetsuo finally received the attention he so desperately craved. Alright, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
Let's get started. Whoa.
Even in Japan, they fail to recognize our superiority.
Wrong country, Grandpa! You're in Akira turf now!
Here we go.
You're dead meat!
Oh man.
Impudent child!
The hell are you calling child? I make the rules around here!
Whoa.
You're wasting my time.
Oh.
Parlor tricks for the master of magnetism.
Whoa.
Your history, scumbag!
Oh man. Good lord. Whoa.
I believe I've had enough tantrums to last a lifetime.
Oh boy. Here we go. Oh, the horror.
Listen, come I'll handle this on my own. Die! Hurts. Help me.
Oh boy.
Poor child.
Tetsuo's esoteric telekinesis.
Results. Magneto. Positives for stronger, faster, tougher. Magnekinesis countered Tetsuo's offense. Magnetic senses countered Tetsuo's mobility. Negatives are inferior healing options. Tetsuo could eventually grow more powerful. Tetsuo. Positives could kill Magneto without his shield. Telekinesis had a broader range of effect. Negatives, though his application was less versatile, overexertion risked bodily harm, and far less combat and tactical experience. I see. So it seems that Magneto is more strategic than Tetsuo. That's nice to know.
Telekinesis and other bizarre abilities certainly gave Magneto pause, but the Master of Magnetism had greater control over his foe.
The numbers don't lie. Tetsuo cratering the moon was insane, but Magneto punched Iron Man with the force of the sun. And while Tetsuo jumped all the way to the moon, Magneto could move across galaxies.
Against Tetsuo in his human form, Magneto obviously held...
Without his barriers, Tetsuo was easily powerful enough to kill Magneto. However, those barriers can withstand attacks from Thor and Hercules, who are far stronger than Tetsuo. I see. So Magneto is even stronger and could keep up with Tetsuo even without his barriers because he fought foes who are much stronger than Tetsuo. That makes sense.
A sizable advantage in power and speed.
But stats aren't all that matters. With his precise telekinesis, Tetsuo could just target Magneto's organs. GG, right?
Yes, but Magneto had similar skills. There are very few substances on Earth that lack any metallic or magnetic component, and Magneto is very creative with his powers.
Which he could use to predict Tetsuo's teleportation and even shut down his telekinesis. And his scraps with Xavier prove he can handle Tetsuo's messing with...
Given that Tetsuo was put out of commission after attempting to read Akira's mind, it's likely that with Magneto's greater array of abilities, the same would happen here. I see. So Tetsuo would die after trying to read Magneto's mind, the same way Akira put him down. So yeah, I guess it's still a lose for Tetsuo no matter who he faces.
With his head, the biggest challenge for Magneto was when Tetsuo's gross mutated power came into play.
Especially given how the detonations from this form were compared to that of a Big Bang. Although the authenticity of that observation is questionable. In truth, the Big Bang was a sudden expansion of matter on a universal scale, whereas Tetsuo's explosions are more akin to nuclear blasts, clearly intentional given the post-war symbolism of the Akira story.
The whole creating an alternate universe bit wasn't even part of the original material, so we can't exactly call it canon.
But let's just say the comparison wasn't superfluous. Let's say Tetsuo did in fact cause a Big Bang capable of creating or destroying an entire universe, alternate or otherwise.
Turns out Magneto had the tools to stop that too. Helmet Head could overpower Hercules, who was strong enough to hold up the skies of Olympus, which is literally heaven and an alternate universe.
This doesn't necessarily mean Magneto could easily destroy a universe with a snap of his fingers, but it does prove he can match a similar level of power. And context is everything. Tetsuo's Big Bang eruption specifically exhibited proton collapse, meaning its atomic structure was primarily an unstable mess of neutrons and electrons. And Magneto has detected and commanded unstable electrons before. This means Magneto had every means available to take control over this Big Bang.
And I thought he could just move some metal around. It's like the question posed by some of the greatest prophets of our time. Fucking magnets. How do they even work?
Magneto's astonishing power and intelligent control over all things magnetism triumphed in the end.
Tetsuo pushed his luck, but didn't have the metal to pull off the win.
The winner is Magneto.
Congratulations, Magneto.
Thank you for watching this episode. If you'd like to directly support the whole Death Battle team, click that join button and consider becoming a member. We'd really appreciate it. Hope you like the next one.
Next time. Oh, Hercules versus Sun Wukong. So that was Magneto versus Tetsuo, and Magneto came out victorious. And the next battle is going to be very interesting. A battle between two actual gods. But we don't know for sure exactly which versions of those gods are going to be used. But whatever happens, they'll be able to figure out their abilities and whatnot. So yeah. Anyway, thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.